We're live, and we're live with Mathias Chau. I hope I pronounced that correct, Mathias.
It's Mathias.
Mathias, okay. I'm sorry about
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. So we're live with Mathias Chau, who is fabulously known for his absolutely fantastic artwork on guitar bodies. Welcome to the interview, Mathias.
Thanks, Tan, for having me, and thanks, Guitarbench again. Yeah.
So I guess we should get started right at the beginning. So, how you got into doing guitars?
Sure. So I think it was 2016. I just started getting into electric guitars. And I wanted a custom made guitar or at least a body with a custom image on it. And so my brother at the time was selling guitar bodies, and I asked him if I could draw on one, and I drew a bunch of Pokemon, and that's how it all started. It just went from Pokemon, and then I just progressively worked on my way out of Pokemon. But yeah, it just started with the want to draw something on a guitar body. And it was around that time when I just finished my visual arts degree as well. And so I was just looking for a different canvas, and I guess the guitar body was the different canvas that just worked. Yeah.
And I suppose in terms of canvases, is the guitar body a much different canvas to traditional, traditional materials?
Much different. There's so much there's so much preparation involved for a guitar, especially like starting new on a already finished body. You can't do that. You need to at least sand down the surface so that it has some tooth to accept the incoming illustration. Or if you're starting on a bare body, then there's some processes that you need to do to prep the wood, at least seal it and then prime it. And then that's, yeah, for me, just it was just a whole different process. For canvases, like cotton canvases for my paintings or fine art paints, it's just, you just go to the store and you just buy it. And it's already finished, and all you need to do is start painting. Yeah.
Right. Because I was gonna say, because traditional cotton canvases actually are, you don't paint directly on the cotton, right? Like it has to have some form of finish or layer gesso or something like that on top, right?
Yeah.
And I guess in terms of guitar bodies, does the and I hope I'm using the right word here, correct me if I'm wrong, but do the pigments, are they on top of the finish, or are they actually on top of the wood, or do they actually penetrate into finish or wood?
So I would paint on top of the color coat, and then the illustration would be clear coated on top. So it'd be underneath either a polyurethane finish or a lacquer finish. Yeah.
Oh, right. So it's like the middle layer of a sandwich, basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fantastic. And what I guess pigments? What sort of pigments, or what do you
What
use?
sort of what do I use?
Yeah, oils, acrylics.
Yeah, I use acrylics, usually paint markers, because paint markers, they come on, they appear very opaque when you apply them, but they're very thin, right? So if they're thin, it makes the finishing process easier because it's a level surface, and it's not like you're applying it with a brush. Applying acrylic with a brush, it'll leave like brush marks on top, and so it's a very bumpy surface. But yeah, here, I have one right here. These are basically the paints that I use. They're paint markers. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Great. And they're acrylic. Yeah.
Fantastic. And I suppose you mentioned you started off doing on Pokemon, and you're transitioning away from that.
Right. I'm trying to, yeah, because it's I like there's copyright stuff as well, right? And I kind of want to make this my own thing. I don't think I can venture too much into Pokemon. That might get me in trouble. But yeah, I have a soft spot for Pokemon because that's where it started from, and that was yeah.
Great. And I suppose, how would you describe your style at the moment?
My style at the moment is very line based. Um, so I don't know how to. It's very like I use lines to a lot of lines, just a lot of lines to create the image. So it's not so much traditional kind of imagery of painting and shadowing or highlighting and stuff. It's more so using lines to kind of create those shadows, and it's semi-realistic. That's kind of the approach that I'm trying to go for. Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Yeah, it totally does. And I suppose, do you have any particular themes that you're sort of more moving towards these days?
I'm trying to do floral stuff. Just looking at those paisley kind of designs. Yeah, but without using cloth, I'm trying to draw them, which I don't know if that approach is you might as well, if you're going at that approach, you might as well just use cloth and just do the pattern that Fender does. But it's an interesting process just doing florals and stuff. It's not exactly my comfort zone, but it's something like an exploration kind of thing. Yeah.
Cool. That's great. And I suppose now is a really good time just to maybe talk about sort of the ordering and sort of like commissioning process. Maybe you could talk us through that a little bit, please.
Sure. So first we'd start off with drafts. We'd kind of, for the commissioner, if I was working with like a commission, then we'd start off with drafts. They kind of give me an idea of what they would like to see, or like a general idea of what their subject matter is. And then we'd work through that. I'd spend about a week just drawing it on Photoshop and Illustrator. And we'd go through a series of photos and see which one they prefer. And then from there, we'd from there I'd start preparing the body, sealing the body, priming the body, and then drawing on it. And that process would take about two weeks before I start clear coating it and finalizing the image. I get back to the customer and see if they are okay with that image. And then from there, it's just clear coating, finishing, polishing, and it's a lot of going back to the commissioner and just seeing if they're okay with the image and the finished product, and then that's basically it. Yeah.
And here's maybe a little bit of a naughty question. Have you had to do many redos?
Thankfully, no. Most of my commissioners are very they're very understanding. And most of the time I make steps not to screw up the body, right? Because it's I think if you screw something up and you have to go back and re-prep the guitar and redo everything, that time is important. And yeah, and so just if the commissioner doesn't like it, then that's a problem for everyone. And so yeah, there's just like steps where I have to make sure that this is good enough and that the commissioner will like it. Yeah.
Awesome. That's great. And I think And maybe at this point in time, maybe you could spend just a little bit of time to get you maybe to talk us through a couple of the illustrations, the graphic work that you've done. Why don't, so let me just share my screen real quick. And there we go. So yeah, I think this was Dream Hopper.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe you could talk us through this. This is one of my like favorites, so that's why
Okay.
I'm asking about it. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Do you want to like behind the idea behind the image or just
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, sure. I think I was watching some anime. I don't remember which anime, but I don't remember the specific image for why I chose this.
Uh-huh.
But it's I was watching this anime where they were going through some kind of dreamscape, and I wanted to capture that idea of dream.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and as for the fish, I have a fish, so I just took pictures of the fish for
Uh-huh.
reference images,
Mm-hmm.
and this is it. And I just kind of overlaid it on Photoshop. And as soon as I got the image down, I kind of just printed that Photoshop image. And oh, I didn't explain to you the process of how I transfer the image from Photoshop onto the guitar. But I guess this would be a good time to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Excellent.
Yeah, so what I do is I draw the image on Photoshop first, and then I print it on 13 by 19 paper.
Mm-hmm.
As when as I print it out, I flip the page over. I use chalk
Mm-hmm.
and I mark the back of the paper,
Mm-hmm.
and then I put the image on the body, and I just retrace the image onto the body, and that would leave the chalk imprint on the body.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and then from there I just retrace it again onto on the body, and you get the outline. And as for the colors, I just went with the color scheme. In the middle where you see near the fridge, I
Mm-hmm.
did that by mistake. So it was like a purple paint spill. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh damn, I can't go back from that. And so I just went with the whole purple pink kind of color
Right.
scheme.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it totally works. and
Thanks.
and I think, yeah, and I think it's probably a mark of your skill that it looks totally intentional. Like
Thanks.
totally 100% intentional. Great. Maybe we have time for one more. So, oh, yeah, so let me just flip to the kitty caster.
Sure. So this one is a body that I'm doing as a commission currently. It's I'm still not finished it. It just finished clear coating phase.
Mhm.
But yeah, this body, oh, the commissioner wanted to draw their cat on the back of the body,
Mhm.
and it's just their cat that recently passed away, and they just kind of wanted to remember it and put it on a guitar body as well. They also wanted imagery of like cherry blossoms, and
Mhm.
yeah, they wanted to they wanted that imagery or that floral pattern to wrap around the body,
Mhm.
and that's exactly how we got to this. Yeah.
Awesome. And um, honestly, how painful was that wrapping process?
Painful. Yeah, this was before I I thought to start uh charging labor for drawing the back and sides. And as soon as this was painful enough to understand that it took a lot of time to do, like, okay, I got to start charging for this thing. But yeah, yeah,
Right.
it's just holding the guitar body like this up
Mhm.
side and just trying to draw it. with no rest or like how to rest your hand. It's pretty difficult, but yeah, it works.
Got to get a good vice, a good guitar vice, and with padding. That's the way to go. Yeah, I can't imagine how hard it would be. At least, but at least the Telecaster's a flat side, right?
Yes.
Like the Strat would just be curves all around.
Yes.
Fantastic. Great. Thank you so much for sharing. I guess we're coming towards the end of the interview, so I suppose now's the time to ask, what's next for you? What's coming up?
I think just for now, surviving through the commissions. Yeah, for the first half of the year, I'm booked off for commissions, and we'll see how I do and go from there. But if anything, I think I'd really want to work for like a custom shop kind of thing for any guitar company. That'd be cool, but we'll see.
Cool. Great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time and sharing your process with us. Wish you all the best, and take care.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Matthias. Thanks. Take care now.